Hey guys, it's Len. I'm here at Lion Strong Athletics. Today we're going through a live workout. We're going to target the quads and calves today, so push muscles of your lower body. And for fun, I might even throw in some bicep work at the end as a treat to myself, maybe some ab work. We'll see kind of where the workout takes us. So I'm going to hop right into my quads. I haven't warmed up too much yet, so I'm going to start here on the leg extension machine. I use this a lot as my first exercise, and most bodybuilders do as well. And that's because it really helps warm up your quad muscles, help warm up your knees, and get you ready to lift if you're going to do squats and presses later on. So right now I have this set to really, really light. I'm just going to kind of warm it up, get some blood, get it pumping through my legs, get them ready to take on greater force later on. Beyond that, I like starting with leg extensions a lot of the time, just because from a hypertrophy standpoint, this is a very effective exercise for me. I have very long femurs and very long legs, so squats do not typically go that well for me, although we will be doing some squats today. So leg extensions for taller people are really great exercise to target the quads and help isolate them. So good. I feel like a nice little warm-up set. Just get some blood going through them. We're going to move on to something a little bit heavier. And my goal here, I kind of want to work up to where I'm failing at around 10 to 15 zone. I don't really want to lift super heavy and kind of max myself out on a leg extension. I feel like with this exercise, when you're going crazy heavy on it, there's a risk for injury. I just want to avoid that. I'm not here to get injured. I'm here to pump my legs up and have a good lift. Also, when you're setting this exercise up for yourself, make sure there's no gap here in the back of your leg and the machine, and you're locked in real tight like this. If you had that gap, you're not going to be able to press as well off those quads. So make sure you're locked in nice, and then your back's just in a comfortable position. We can always play around with foot position. I think today we're more or less just going straight on to make it even throughout my quads. So I put it to 130 pounds. This should give me about 15 or so reps. We'll see where it goes. I always want to make sure at the top I'm giving it a nice squeeze. I'm not wasting any reps. Controlling the weight. Trying to keep constant tension this whole time. If I feel like I'm coming off the seat at all, sometimes it happens with higher weight. Just make sure you hold down on these guys. Feel a good pump, especially through that teardrop in the front. I'm going to take this to failure. Ooh. So that's a good set there. I like to take it right to failure. My goal is to have one set at least where I'm going to failure, and then one set where I'm going beyond failure. So on this next set, we're going to do that beyond failure. I might jump the weight just a touch, just so I can stay kind of in that 10-ish zone for my first fail. And then what we're going to do is a drop set. I'm going to drop it about half the weight that I'm at right now. And then we're just going to keep going until my legs basically fall off. On these kind of sets, especially for hypertrophy, my goal is to go all out. My goal is to completely wreck my quads, and then I move on to the next exercise. I don't need to spend 6 sets here. I had a warm-up. I had one working set. This is going to be my second working set. All right. Jumping into it, make sure I'm locked in. Show off my quads for you guys. As nice and small as they are. All the way to failure, drop, all the way to failure again. Here we go. Big squeeze. Don't miss that squeeze. That's where a lot of growth happens. I did touch on the bottom there. I want to try to avoid that so that I can keep tension the whole time. Hip failure. I'm going to drop to half the weight I was doing. Try not to waste too much time. And I'm going to keep going. Ooh. Legs are on fire. And these are the ones that matter. These are the ones that build the most. I'm just trying to push through. Ow. Ooh, a real good burn. As you can see at the top, at the end of my reps there, I had it where I was going nearly all the way, and then maybe 90, 80%, 70%, 60%, etc., until I couldn't pick that up off anymore. And that's how you take a muscle to true failure. So I'm pretty happy with that. Ooh, my legs need a second. They feel a little like Bambi, which is good. That's what I want. So we're going to move on. Beyond hypertrophy, I also have a goal of just bulletproofing my knees and making sure that they can take a lot of tension so that if I go and play sports, doing an activity, I can accomplish any task and I'm never worried about getting hurt. So what I want to do in my next exercise, and it's why I'm putting it early in my workout, is an exercise that's focused on not just hypertrophy, but on making sure my knees can handle anything. So what we're going to do is a sissy squat. Follow me over here to the squat rack while I try to catch my breath. So a sissy squat, I like to use a squat rack for it, or you can use a Smith machine as well. But you don't have to. You just need something to hang on to that's not going to move, because I want you to be using your upper body to help your lower body accomplish this task. And eventually, I won't need that, but I'm not there yet. And be patient with yourself. Be patient with me as I'm trying to increase my knee strength, right? And I'm really trying to train my quads to be able to handle force near the knee and near that patellar tendon. So how I do that is by going into a position where I have a big bend through here. So of course we can do that with a forward knee lunge, something like this, where I have this big knee bend and I'd push out of it. But today I want to get a little crazier. I also want to target hypertrophy, so I'm going to do sissy squats. Let me run through a set of sissy squats. I'm only going to be doing 2 sets of this because they're very intense. I want to try to get about 8 to 10 reps here. So I'm going to get myself close to the bar. I'm going to have my knees unlocked. My goal here is to push my knees forward as I drop my chest and my back to the ground. I'm going to use this for balance and of course use it to help me get back up. So up on my toes, pushing my knees forward, big stretch, drive. Trying to push through my toes, trying to push through the floor. And this top hand is helping me just a little bit. I'm almost there where I don't need the help. And then past that, I can always progress by adding weight. Ooh. But right now, I'm not there yet. Couple more reps. Drive. So I had to help at the last rep a lot with my arms, which is what I want. Really force my legs to take all the force I can. Then my arms help for the last couple, taking them to failure. When I first started lifting, I was lifting very much knees, never went over my toes. I got pretty strong in my upper quads. My lower quads always lacked because of that. And what happened is I developed knee pain. And it's because the structural integrity around my knee and the strength of my quad, the strength of my patellar tendon was just weak. And so I started getting to knees over toes. I started to squat like this with my knees coming forward. And then eventually got into sissy squats, which are even tougher. And because I can handle this situation, which might look pretty wild to a lot of you, is my knees can take anything now. I can get in any situation. I can stay in situations. I can pick things up. I never have knee pain. I have strength in my knee now from doing these awkward positions. So I'm going to do one more set. Same exercise. 8 to 10-ish reps. So I want to gauge how much I'm helping with my upper body here. And take it to failure, you know? And I only like 1 to 2 sets at failure, and then you move on. You don't have to do this exercise all day. It's literally taking me 5 minutes. Get in a position, nice and tight to the bar, up on my toes. I'm going to drive forward. And I'm pushing off my toes to come back up. This is definitely an exercise you need to progress into, or you would start with a lot of help here. A lot of help. So your upper body would take half of your body weight. And as you get better, it takes a quarter of your body weight, etc. I'm on the last couple reps here. Try and push it right to the limit. My quads are absolutely toast from that. So toast, I might even give it a quick break. Thinking I might move on to a calf exercise, let my quads relax for a second before we get into more presses. I still want to hit a squat and a leg press of some kind. My quads are just absolutely done right now. So we're going to move on to a calf exercise. We're going to do a seated calf press, and it's going to target my soleus muscle. The soleus, look at my quad here. The gastrocnemius is the top one. The one that runs underneath here, that's my soleus. So we're going to target the soleus with a bent knee calf raise. Now, a lot of gyms have this machine for you. I don't have one here, but there is a dumbbell version of this exercise. So I'm going to grab some dumbbells. Probably, let's go 55s. And I'm going to walk over to this bench here. And we'll be facing that way. So I'm on the bench. And this is how you do this if you don't have this machine available to you, but you might have dumbbells available to you. So I want to line up these dumbbells on the top of my knee. And that way it's driving the force down through my knee. I want to back up my legs so that at the bottom I get a good stretch through my calf. Now I'm more or less just going to relax with these dumbbells. I'm going to press up through the floor and contract my calves. So driving up. This predominantly works the soleus. Of course, it also works the gastrocnemius. But we're going to hit a specific exercise later that targets mostly the gastrocnemius. And of course, for that, the soleus still works. But think of it like a 70-30 mix. And we'll do one of each, 70-30. So the soleus is a very, it's a muscle that has a lot of endurance to it. So when you're working it out, don't be afraid to hit higher reps. On this exercise specifically, I like to do 20 to 30 reps on it. I get a good burn. Almost there, a couple more left. When you're done, you can just ditch them on the floor. Oh, so I feel a good burn through those calves. Meanwhile, getting a nice break in my quads. That was a good set. I may not have been quite to failure. It's hard to get to failure on the dumbbell version. So if you're at a gym that has a seated calf press, you can probably take that right to failure. The safety on those mechanisms can be a little tough, so it does help to have a spotter. But in most cases, you can take it right to failure and get a really good pump out of it. So I'm going to do one more set like that. I'll probably keep the same weight and just pump it up. Another 20 to 30 reps. And then we're going to jump right back into quads with some presses. I never like to rest too much during my workouts. I'm here for a purpose. It's to work out. I'm not here to be in the gym for 2-3 hours and lift. I'm here to get in. I'm here to damage muscles. I'm here to elicit growth. And I'm here to make my body adapt to a change by failing. If I fail at something, my body says to me, "You're not good enough for that." And it does something about it. It alters your body so that next time you will be good enough. And that's the basis for growth in both strength and size. You're not good enough, so your body changes. So next time you will be good enough. Big burn in those calves. Just push through. My brain's telling me to stop. And give me 5 more reps. That's all I'm asking it. Oh yeah. Calves on fire. Leg muscles especially, and calf muscles, they can easily get tight, cramped, especially the next day. So after this workout, maybe later tonight, I'll be sure to stretch out my calves so that they keep their elasticity so they don't get balled up and cramp up. Especially tomorrow, they're probably going to be a little sore. So that was a good exercise for calves. We work that soleus muscle here. Later on, we're going to hit the gastrocnemius. I'm going to put these weights away, and then we're going to hop over to some quad presses. Although the sissy squat we did was a press technically, I don't count that in my pressing group. So what I want to do is we're going to move on to my leg press machine here. It's a leg press and it is a hack squat machine. We're going to be using this for the next 2 exercises. The first one though is going to be a leg press. The reason I've chosen this is I really want to do a single leg exercise. I like to incorporate one single leg just so I make sure that I'm not training one more than the other. Sometimes when you squat, it's easy to lift slightly more with one side than the other. But if you do an exercise that's unilateral, it ensures that I'm working something evenly. I'm training my right, then I'm training my left. Where if you always do pressing at the same time, sometimes one leg will take over. And that used to be the case for me. Certainly, I've had a foot surgery on my right side, and my left leg, because of that, takes over very easily. It does a lot of the work for me on pressing, so I have to try and fight that off mentally, and then I can use exercises to fight it off physically. So I'm going to hop in here. Someone set this nice and low for me, so I'll have to push it up and get it into a usable position. Okay, so because I still want this to be mostly quad, I'm going to put my foot on the bottom half of this press machine, and I even have my heel right now touching on the bar. So if you want to target your quads on a leg press, your feet have to be lower on the machine. The higher I get with my legs, the more hamstring and glute are going to help me, and the lower I put my legs, the more quads. So, like I said, I'm going to do a unilateral exercise here. That means one of the legs is going to be working. I'm going to be doing 10 to 12 reps and try and find a spot that's pretty close to failure. I preloaded the machine here to hopefully be close to that. My other leg, I have two options. I can put it through and keep it relaxed, just like this. Or my second option is I can have it on the machine almost as a safety to help me if I need to. And I have it there, but I have to make sure that I don't use it. I just try to relax that leg as best as I can. Okay, I'm going to pick that weight up. I'm going to have this as a safety. Popping down, I'm trying to drive through that left foot. Back down, load up the quad, and drive. Trying not to let my butt come off the seat, because then my butt can help me more. Almost there. 8, 9, 10. And now I'm going to switch sides. Do the exact same thing. Have this left leg as a safety. Drive off that toe. Now I do want to try and get this as low as I possibly can, comfortably, so that my quad right from the top has to do a bunch of work. I don't want to see you going halfway down on this. We want that full range of motion. It's also very important on this exercise. I'm going to lock it out here. It's very important on this exercise as you're lifting. I never want to have my legs fully extend and fully lock out, especially on an inverted leg press. That's because a lot of the force that's coming at me is going down through gravity. So you have to be careful not to lock out, because if you lock out, you do run a very small, but still, risk of your knee hyperextending down. If that happens, you won't be lifting for a very long time. So never lock out on a leg press, but never lock out, especially on an inverted leg press like this. Always, and we don't want that anyway, so it works. Whenever we're pressing, I always want to keep tension on my quads. If I had to go to lock out, I'm not going to do it here, but if I did lock out all the way, that tension's running through my bones and my joints. It's not in my muscles. My muscles would be relaxed. So having this as my top position, where I still have a bend, means that my quads are still working the entire time. Remember, constant tension is one of the best ways to grow. So that was a good first set. I'm just going to adjust so I can talk to you. It was a good set. I definitely felt like my legs were a little bambied already. But this unilateral work is so important. I really want to make sure that my right leg stays competent compared to my left leg. Especially my left leg's been trained my whole life based off of sports. I played basketball, I jump off that foot. Tons of sports where you lead with that left leg, and it can really develop a lot more strength than your right leg. It's just like your upper body. If you write with your right hand, your right shoulder, your right arm develops a lot more strength than your left. Well, the opposite happens on your legs. Your left can develop more strength than your right. So this unilateral work is very important to make sure you can stay even, and not just even from a size perspective, but even from a capability perspective. I want to be faced with a situation where my right leg has to take force and it can handle it. You know, if I'm on a really tough hike and I need to put my foot way up there to catch me and pull me up, I want to make sure that my right leg is able to accomplish that task and not just my left leg. So that's why I do unilateral work. All right, we're going to go with set 2. I'm going to try and take this to failure. I'm going to only use the safety on the last couple reps to help me. So that was 15 reps there on my left side. So next time I go to do this workout, go to do this exercise, I could potentially try adding 10 pounds maybe, so that we can get closer to that 10, 12 range. That being said, failure is the most important part. Whether you do get 10 or 15 or 20, whatever it is, I want to hit that failure point. So I'm pretty happy I got there. Let's see if my right can also do 15 reps. Oh. So I took that to failure again, and I actually only got 12 out of my right leg, which shows still the disparity between the two. But that being said, you know, a lot of us are going to have these disparities, not just between our legs, but our upper body muscles. And it doesn't mean that you load one, just because my left leg could have done more. I don't load it up to get more. I want my right leg to catch up. So I make sure I do the same weight. And I feel like it's honestly come a long way. There used to be a massive difference. And now the difference is, 2-3 reps. So we're getting there. Progress. I'm going to get a quick drink of water. And then we're going to move on to our last quad exercise, which is going to be a squat. And I'm going to use that same machine. But instead of a leg press, we're going to use a hack squat. A hack squat is my favorite type of squat, hands down. I don't have to worry about my back changing and taking force. So it completely takes out my hamstrings and my glutes from helping. And I can keep it solely a quad exercise. So we're going to pop back over here. And I'll show you how I fix this machine to make it a hack squat. It's pretty cool. Go on the other side. These machines are very rare. It can be hard to find. But to me, they're incredibly useful. Because we have a leg press and a hack squat all in one. It takes up way less room in the gym. So I just switch the cover into a hack squat. Just like that. Super easy. I'm going to adjust the weight though, because my goal here, I just trained my quads in a rep range. On the sissy squat, I was doing about 8 to 10. And then on the unilateral leg press, let's call it 10 to 15. So I've already hit a bunch of kind of strength, size combos. So for this hack squat, what I'm going to do is hit an endurance set, or 2 endurance sets, close to failure. So I'm going to adjust the weights on that side. So leg muscles, especially quads and calves, are very endurance-based muscles. A lot of type 1 fibers. And they have to, right? We walk, we run, we do a lot of movement throughout the day. I can't have those muscles getting tired on me. But in that same respect, I also want to train them in that way then. So I want to train them to be good at endurance. And believe me, this also is very good for size, as long as I'm going to failure. But what's happening is, with my constant tension during this exercise, I'm going to be aiming for 20 to 30-ish reps. I'm not too worried about what exact rep range I go to. I just want to go close to failure. But as I'm working out, my muscles, as they're turned on, they're going to be constricted away from blood flow. So I can't get fresh oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. My muscles are going to be filling up with lactic acid and filling up with hydrogen and becoming very acidic. And that's that burn you feel, that burn feeling. So that's what we're going for here. The first couple exercises, a little more tear focused. This is going to be a burn focused. Or as I call it, I'm trying to suffocate the muscle. Cutting off the supply. Ooh, that's nice and heavy. Cutting off the supply, just like as if I was holding my breath. I'm going to try and get nice and low. Look at that depth. And then I'm going to push off that and keep constant tension. Actually, we're going to make a quick adjustment. I felt the weight and thought there's no way I'm going to get to 20 to 30 on that. So we're going to take off a little weight just because my legs are a little like Bambi right now. And we're going to try again. Don't be afraid to do that. If you go into an exercise and you do 1 or 2 reps and you go, okay, I'm way out of my rep range, too light or too heavy, just stop the set, adjust it, and go again. Why are we going to waste our time in sets, right? We don't want any useless sets. I want 2 working sets, and that's it. That feels better. Keeping tension, never coming all the way up. Taking it to failure. I don't even think I could do another half rep there. My legs are on fire. Ooh. And as I relax them, I feel that lactic acid flushing out, trying to escape. My body is turning my acidic muscle back into a neutral by flushing all that lactic acid and hydrogen out. And that burn feeling is already basically gone. So it's amazing how quick our body can work to flush that out. And so that's a really good point towards constant tension, is if I'm at the top there and I lock out and I'm resting, it means my body's resting. And our goal here is I'm more or less trying to suffocate and poison my muscles. And then my body is going to respond by again saying, we weren't good enough to handle this situation. We're going to put in more energy stores, more water, which makes it more basic, so that we'll be able to last a little bit longer next time. So this is a basis not just for growth, or not just for endurance, but for growth, muscle growth as well. Because our body's going to fill our muscle with energy stores so I can last longer, and with water. So I took that right to failure. I'm going to rest another 30 seconds here, and I'm going to go again. I wasn't counting, but I think I was around 25. I think I lost count around 15, but I knew I was, had about 10 or 12 more in the tank. So we're going to keep the weight, and we're going to go again for one more set. Just absolutely blast them. And I'm trying to remember, this is my last quad exercise of the day. I am done after this. I hit my extensions, I hit my sissy squat, I hit a unilateral, and now I'm finishing with a full squat. I'm done. That's a lot of quad. If you're going to failure, that is a lot of quad to be hitting. So after this, I get to move on to one more calf exercise, something to target the gastrocnemius. And then I think I have some time, so we're going to put in some biceps, some arm work as a little reward, as a little trick you can do with your program. If you hate leg days, they certainly don't motivate me. But if I can put something that I like with a leg, so for example here I'm hitting quads and then some biceps, it makes me so I want to do the day a little bit more. And you can put hamstrings. I think I did hamstrings and threw in some triceps a couple days ago. And it just helps with motivation. I honestly think it does. So don't be afraid to deviate from your regular leg day. You can put quads with shoulders, quads with chest, hamstrings with back, all kinds of options. You don't have to have a leg day. You can split them up. All right, we're going to do this set. I'm keeping constant tension. This is the highest I would ever want to go. That way I have tension. Ah. 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 Oh. Ah. Ooh, I wasn't able to get those few extra ones. My legs are just toast. I think I got 18 or 19 though. So as far as my endurance range of 20 to 30, I'm right there. I'm not too worried about it. Hit 25, 30 on the first set. Hit 18 or so in the second. I feel like next time I do this, if I keep the same weight and a similar routine, of course, I feel like that second set, I'll be able to get 20. And that'll be pretty good progressive overload. I always want to try to either beat it in weight or beat it in reps. You never want to be doing the same weight, the same reps for weeks on end. You always want to try to beat it somehow, right? That's how we get bigger and stronger. Progressive overload. All right, I'm gonna get up. My legs are absolutely crushed. And I'm gonna move on to a calf raise. I want to target my gastrocnemius. That's the big muscle at the back of the calf. So to do that, I need something where my leg is more or less locked out. My knee is locked out. When your knee is bent, we're targeting mostly soleus. When it's locked out, we're targeting that gastrocnemius. So I'm going to pop over to the Smith machine for this exercise. The reason I want to use the Smith machine today is it provides the stability for me. So I don't have to worry about that. As I have shaky legs right now, that becomes more and more important. So I don't have to worry about stabilizing. I'm just going to move this bench out of the way. I can just focus on pressing through my calves and give them a workout. So I'm going to add some weight. Again, I only want to do 2 sets here. That's it. So I'm going to load up a weight that I think I could probably fail around that zone. And on this Smith machine, that's about a 45 and a 25 each side. Potentially 2 45s for me. I'm not going to use a toe raiser for an extra stretch. I'm just going to use the floor. I'm going to go for about 15 reps and focus on just squeezing the gastrocnemius, squeezing that upper calf. You can always use a pad if you want. I just don't really feel like it right now. I'm going to push up and back down. A big mistake people make with this exercise is they rush it. And they go really fast. And you should treat your calves just like any other muscle, where I'm not bouncing like this. I'm going slow and controlled, just like I would any other exercise, any other muscle. Ooh, getting tough and getting closer to failure. Ooh. And rack it when you're done. That's one of the best parts of a Smith machine, is they're very easy to rack, as opposed to free motion barbells where I might have to go forward, I might have to find hooks. This, you just drop it in place. I love using the Smith machine for a lot of exercises. I like it for squats and lunges, calf work, and I like it for press work as well, like shoulder presses, chest presses, especially incline press. It's a good way to really target your upper chest without getting into your shoulders, because you don't have to worry about stabilizing, which is one of the reasons why I'm using it here for the calf, because my quads are so weak right now. That extra stabilization is going to go a long way to help me still contract my calves, but not have to worry about falling over and using other muscles to help me. Again, I like to keep it pretty short on rest time, and we're going to jump right back into it here. You might notice my calves are two different sizes. My right calf is significantly smaller than my left calf. That's from my foot surgery. So I do unilateral stuff for calves as well, just not today, so that I can try to get that calf to catch up. But it is a weakness of mine, and that's why I try to work on it a lot, because that's how you get stronger. You don't neglect your weaknesses, you target them, and you take them on full force. Okay, so calves are done. 2 sets of failure. I just did a bunch of quads. They're done. It's time to reward myself. Thank God I made it. We're going to do some arms. I'm so excited. We're going to pop over here. I like to do usually only about two arm exercises, or 2 exercises, I should say, for the biceps. On my tricep day, I'll do 2 exercises for the triceps. 3 occasionally. But when you're going to failure on such a small muscle group, I really think 2 is kind of all you need. For guys that are maybe advanced bodybuilders, and anyone who's enhanced in any way, taking stuff, that's where you might get into 3, maybe 4 exercises. But if you're not taking anything, if you're natural, anywhere from beginner even to advanced, if you're going to failure on 2 exercises, true failure, you're not able to handle a whole lot more. So let's pop into, we're going to do a hammer curl. That way we can work our brachialis as well as our bicep brachii. It targets 2 muscles on this one. Brachialis sits about here, kind of underneath, and the brachii sits on top, and it's that ball. But I feel like it really works that brachialis, and hammer curls are really good for getting width in your arm. So I'm going to go pretty heavy on it. I might hit a quick warm-up set first, though, and show you guys the technique. I'm going to grab the 12s. This is super light. I'm just going to kind of warm up those muscles. So my goal here is to keep my elbows at my sides. I'm trying to close the elbow joint and then open the elbow joint. And that's it. That's all I want to do on this one, so that I can target that brachialis. Just open and close. Open and close. One thing that I really want you to avoid, and you might see at the gym, is this shoulder movement people do to accomplish the same task. I do not want your shoulders to move at all. I want you to be extending out in front and then curling up. Extending out in front and curling up. And that's it. I don't want to use my shoulders. I just want to be targeting my biceps. So I'm all warmed up. Nothing serious. I don't need to take that to failure at all. I'm going to grab a weight that I think I'm going to fail around 10 to 12. We're going to do something a little bit more on the strength side. When it comes to isolation moves and training arms, I never like to do anything like super heavy, where you're failing at like 5 or 6. I save that for compound movements. The lowest I'll go on isolation stuff is that like 10-ish zone. So I'm going to grab the 40s. We're going to take them for a run and see if I can get 10 out of them. Trying to keep that elbow locked there. Good, so I took that right to failure. I really only got about 8 out of that. And then the last 2 or 3 reps were maybe a 75, 50, and 25. So I'm going to count that as an 8 rep. So technically I went a little too heavy. That's okay. I bet next time I'll be able to get that 10 at the 40s. But for my second and final set for my hammer curls, I'm going to pop it down to the 35s. That way I know that I'll be able to hit that 10, or should, in theory, hit that 10. If I wasn't able to hit the 10 and I went to failure, the next set, I'm not going to get stronger. I'm going to get weaker. So you have to make sure you keep that in mind. Anytime you go to failure, your next set, you are going to be weaker. Keep that in mind with other exercises too, right? If today I'm doing hammer curls first, maybe next time I do them as a second exercise, I cannot expect me to lift 40s if it's my second exercise. I have to take that into account, and I've been going to failure. I have to take that into account and maybe start at 35s or 30s. So exercise order definitely matters for what kind of weights you're using. And as you get in the gym more and more, you kind of know what your body needs and wants at different times. But it felt pretty good. I got a decent pump. I definitely felt a lot of it here. And we're going to go for one more round. Again, same thing. Going for that 10-ish zone, and I'm going to take it right to failure. I think I got 9 or 10 full reps. Then I hit an 11, a 12, and a 13 where I was barely moving. I definitely hit failure. My muscles are feeling pretty pumped up right now, which is great. So that's it for hammer curls. I'm done. 2 sets, all out. That's all that matters. And now I can move on to my next exercise. So here I am, look, I'm already nice and pumped up in those biceps. And that's just off a hammer curl. So now I really want to target that bicep brachii, the peak there, because that is really quite an aesthetic muscle, right? When someone goes to flex, that's something that you notice right away is that bicep peak. So I want to build that with some sort of concentration curl. Bodybuilders of the 70s used a lot of bent over dumbbell curls. And they have these massive brachii with this big cut at the bottom that makes them very aesthetic. And today, I feel like a lot of our bodybuilders and weightlifters focus mostly just on standing curls with very different variations. And when they go to flex, they're missing a lot of that bottom cut. And I feel like you get that nice little cut by doing a lot of concentration work where your elbow is locked on something and you have your hand facing you. So we're going to use a preacher curl machine to target that. And I'm going to hit maybe a touch higher rep range. I'm going to make sure I have my hands facing me. I'm just going to jump right into it here. I want to keep tension. Means that's the lowest that I'm going to go, because you can see my bicep is under tension in this position. I'm going to bring that up and hit a big squeeze and back down to that stretch. I want to try and bring this up all the way as high as I can, because that gives me the biggest squeeze possible. I'm getting close to failure. I'm going to take it all the way there. I felt a lot of lactic acid buildup on that. My arms were absolutely on fire, which is good. I might even go a little more higher up on the next exercise, or sorry, on the next set. So what I'm going to do is actually lower the weight a little bit, only by 5-10 pounds. And instead of getting that 15, I think I'm going to go for a set of 20, 25, just to feel that burn a little bit better. One note on this exercise is these machines are great for applying force throughout the entire movement, whereas dumbbells, when you're near the bottom, you don't have a whole lot of force. So that's the benefit of this kind of machine, is it provides force throughout. But if you haven't been training and your tendons near your elbows maybe not used to that kind of pressure, you really want to maybe avoid that bottom part of this, where a lot of the pressure is going to be driving through those tendons right by your elbow joint. So what I recommend, and this is mostly when you go to pick up the weight, this position here, I'm putting a lot of stress through those tendons in the elbow joint. And when I put it back down and back away, I'm doing the same thing. So I'm going to failure and I'm doing that. I could potentially put myself at risk. So I like to start here. I'm in a contracted position. I'm very safe here. I can't hurt those tendons. And I'm going to pick it up and put myself into position. When I'm done the exercise, I pick my body up and drop it the same way. That way I'm not extending out all the way, especially when you're tired. You're just not setting yourself up for success. So I'm here. I'm going to get one more set to failure. I'm going to really focus on just squeezing that muscle. You can even, if you have control of your arms, do a pre-contraction here. Or at the bottom, I'm trying to contract my arm, contract my bicep, and then bring the weight up. Oh, that really hammers the muscle. It's especially easy to do when you have lower weight. We're just going to take it to failure. A couple more. And then lift up to put the weight down safely. Ooh. I feel the lactic acid leaving my arms. So now my biceps are feeling nice and full. Thank God. Especially after doing legs. It's such a nice treat to be able to do that. And I feel right now like I have a really good pump on my bicep brachii. And I really appreciate that exercise. Really targets that line there and pushing my bicep up into the air. So that's it. I'm pretty gassed today. We went through 4 good exercises for the quads, 2 for the calves, 2 for the biceps. That's it. I've been in the gym for, I don't know, maybe an hour, maybe a little less. You don't need to be spending 3 hours at the gym. So I'm done. I get to go enjoy the rest of my day. Hour in, I'm going to go make sure to have some Lion Strong protein. Post-workout, I take about 40 grams. And I'm going to pair it with a simple sugar. I just use a Gatorade. I like to mix it with orange and make like a creamsicle flavor with my vanilla Lion Strong protein. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining in. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and let me know what kind of workouts you want to see, or if there's any routines you want me to run through, any questions at all. See you later.